The cartography of a city. Elena Kovacs had always believed that a city could not be understood through maps alone. Streets, buildings, and districts provided structure, but the true essence of a city emerged from how people moved through its spaces. As an urban sociologist based in Budapest, Elena dedicated her research to exploring the relationship between individuals and the environments they inhabited. She was particularly interested in how different places within a city shaped behavior and perception. Her fascination began during her childhood, when she spent long afternoons wandering through neighborhoods with her grandfather. He rarely followed the same route twice, preferring instead to explore unfamiliar streets. Through these walks, Elena learned to observe the subtle differences between areas. A crowded market square felt entirely different from a quiet residential street, even if they were only a few blocks apart. The city, she realized, was composed of distinct environments, each with its own rhythm and character. A park invited stillness, while a busy avenue encouraged movement and urgency. During her academic career, Elena expanded this intuition into a structured field of study. She analyzed how public spaces influenced social interaction, focusing on locations such as cafes, libraries, train stations, and public squares. Each of these places served a specific function, yet they also carried symbolic meaning. A library represented concentration and knowledge, while a cafe often became a site of conversation and informal exchange. Train stations fascinated her in particular. They were spaces of transition, where people arrived, departed, and briefly intersected without forming lasting connections. Airports, in contrast, amplified this sense of transience. Their vast terminals and controlled environments created a feeling of suspension, as if travelers existed temporarily outside of ordinary life. Elena also studied the role of commercial areas within cities. Shopping streets and malls were designed not only for consumption but also for movement, guiding individuals through carefully arranged pathways. These spaces often influence behavior in subtle ways. The placement of stores, lighting, and even background music contributed to how people experienced the environment. In contrast, public parks offered a different type of interaction. People slowed down, engaged with nature, and temporarily distanced themselves from the intensity of urban life. Elena observed that parks functioned as spaces of restoration. They provided physical and mental relief, allowing individuals to reset before returning to the demands of the city. One afternoon, while sitting on a bench in a central park, Elena noticed how people occupied the space differently. Some walked briskly along the paths, while others remained seated, absorbed in quiet reflection. Children played freely, unconstrained by the formal rules that governed other areas of the city. The park, she realized, allowed for a wider range of behaviors. Returning to her research, Elena began mapping not only physical locations but also emotional responses associated with them. She asked participants to describe how they felt in different parts of the city. Their answers revealed consistent patterns. Crowded intersections often generated stress, while open spaces produced a sense of calm. Narrow streets created intimacy but sometimes also discomfort. Large public squares, on the other hand, could feel either liberating or overwhelming, depending on the individual. Elena concluded that cities were not neutral environments. They actively shaped experience, influencing how people thought, felt, and interacted. She also explored the concept of familiarity. Certain places, such as a local cafe or a neighborhood grocery store, became extensions of daily routine. These locations provided stability within the larger complexity of the city. People returned to them repeatedly, creating a sense of belonging. In contrast, unfamiliar places often generated uncertainty. Navigating a new district required attention and adaptation, forcing individuals to become more aware of their surroundings. Elena found this contrast particularly interesting. Familiarity reduced cognitive effort, while novelty stimulated curiosity and observation. Over time, she began applying these insights to her own life. Instead of following the same routes each day, she deliberately varied her paths through the city. This practice allowed her to experience familiar places differently and to discover new ones. The city, which once felt predictable, became dynamic again. She also paid closer attention to transitional spaces, such as sidewalks, staircases, and corridors. These areas, often overlooked, played a crucial role in connecting different parts of the city. Without them, movement would be impossible. Yet they rarely received the same level of attention as more prominent locations. In one of her lectures, Elena argued that understanding a city required more than identifying its landmarks. It required observing how people interacted with both significant and ordinary spaces. She emphasized that meaning was not inherent in places but emerged through use. A square became lively through gatherings, and a street gained identity through repeated activity. Standing one evening on a bridge overlooking the river, Elena reflected on the complexity of the city. Lights from buildings, movement of vehicles, and distant conversations merged into a continuous flow. The city was never static. It evolved constantly, shaped by the actions of those who inhabited it. For Elena Kovacs, studying urban spaces was not just an academic pursuit. It was a way of understanding how human life unfolded within structured environments. Each place, whether crowded or quiet, temporary or familiar, contributed to a larger narrative. And within that narrative, every individual played a role. In the end, Elena realized that a city was not defined solely by its architecture. It was defined by the countless interactions that occurred within it. And to truly understand a city, one had to move through it, not just physically, but attentively, recognizing the subtle ways in which places shaped experience.